Good evening, ladies and Paul Chamberlain, the Air Force guy here this evening. Can everybody hear me okay this evening? How's it coming in visually wise? Am I blurry? Anyway, please comment down below. Let me know what you're seeing, what you're hearing. Looks like we have just about 82 people in the house at this time. I'll be going over a few things first, and I want to go ahead and thank everybody that's showing up here this evening. Give me a few, just let me kind of go over some housekeeping things here. Number one, foremost, is the fundraiser I'm doing for Make-A-Wish Mid-Atlantic. I want you to understand, I'm not asking for a monthly donation like a lot of these other TV commercials you see. I'm just asking for you all to consider making a wish come true for a child. It doesn't matter whether you're giving $1, $5, it doesn't matter. Every little bit helps. And for those of you that have already contributed, I so much do appreciate that. And we're going to keep you posted on how everything goes with that. So what we have going on here this evening, we're going to go ahead and give you an industry update. I'm going to be taking your questions. Learn something new this week that I want to go over with you. And then also I'm going to be answering a couple questions that people have reached out to me already. I have a couple things lined up. But let me see who is in the house here this evening. So first off, we have Blake from New Vision Security Services. He's out there. Blake, you out there on the road? Where you at this evening here, boss? And we got George Danik. I know he's down there in Florida, sunny Florida, keeping it all nice and warm down there. We got Chuck Ash from over on the Eastern Shore. Appreciate you coming in here this evening. Bill Spruce from Calvert County. Appreciate you coming in here this evening as well. And let's see. This thing's moving. He says he's down in Savannah, Georgia right now. That's awesome. Weekend RVing, and I know they're out there in Quartzsite. I'm sure you have some lovely weather out there. Kathy Beal, you're in here this evening. Do appreciate you showing up. Vincent Kennedy, thank you, sir. Appreciate you showing up here. New Horizons, Susan, I hope everything's going well. I know you got your truck. Looking forward to hearing about your new camper. Avenger RV, Avenger, appreciate you coming in the house here this evening. Low Nelly RV, I know you're heading out to Quartzsite, if I'm not mistaken. If I do, believe you are. So safe travels on that. So anyway, so let's start with by the way, what do you think of my outfit? Oh, you couldn't see my tie there. My wife says I need to kind of dress a little bit nicer for these lives, and I thought I would go ahead and make it festive this evening. What do you think of the outfit here? So anyway, talking about industry, industry updates for the RV industry. What is going on right now? You know, I'll tell you, and I don't know if I've gone over some of this. I apologize if some of this is what I went over before, but you know, we're ordering units and we are not going to be getting the amount of RVs that we want this next year, in this upcoming year. These RV manufacturers are so far behind that the allocations have started. Now, of course, the other thing we're seeing, and I think we're going to see it for the foreseeable future, is additional price increases. And, you know, like for one company, we had saw 3 price increases since August. And I'll tell you, some of the ones we have coming across, and obviously the ones for motorized are going to be substantially more than the ones for towables. So do understand that. A lot of these companies aren't going to be ramping up their production to try to make up for their losses. So keep that in mind. And so what you're seeing is you're seeing some RV dealers actually having additional, well, I shouldn't say additional, new lines of RV manufacturers and campers on their lots. I know that we have a few as well, because we've got to go ahead and be able to fulfill the needs of our customer. And I'll tell you, it's, I guess, a blessing in disguise that we're getting some of these newer manufacturers to help fill that void. So That's kind of the industry update. Well, the other thing too is, I know I've gone over this before, but we're seeing now units are coming offline. They're ready. Well, they're finished being complete. However, they're minus like a furnace, an air conditioner, and things of that nature. One thing that some of these manufacturers are doing for units that are going to be on a dealer lot, if there is a two AC option, they're not putting the second AC in. If there's a third AC option, they're not putting the third AC. They'll put the two, they won't put the third AC option. So that's one thing they're doing. You're seeing them going to this new Furrion air conditioner system. By the way, I just put up a video on how that Furrion thermostat works. Pretty unique way of they're doing it. And that's only one. I know there's other videos out there showing you some of the other features that this Furrion air conditioner has. And by the way, if you have a question in here this evening, jot it down, and I'll make sure that Maureen reminds me, and we'll make sure I get to your questions here once we get going here. So that's it for the industry update. I'm going to go ahead and look through the chat and kind of see if anybody has had any questions come up yet. Let's see. I'm back up to where I was here. See, Terry Matthews is in the house. Good evening, young lady. Hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Hope you're looking forward to your Christmas season. And I do appreciate you coming in here as well, guys. And I hope you do enjoy your trip out there to Quartzsite. And for those of you that are going to be at Tampa, I'm looking forward to catching up with a few of you there. It'll be kind of nice to go ahead and meet with you all face to face, meet with you in person after kind of back and forth here on YouTube for these last couple of years and so forth. Linda R is in the house. Good evening, young lady. Appreciate you joining us here. And let's see here. And well, I'm glad that you got the bear. Appreciate that. By the way, I have the other prizes have gone out, so keep looking for those. Those of you that won last week, looking that up. Nursing our travel bugs in the house. Sound was weird on the phone. Be right there. Well, I'm hoping. Is everything sounding okay for everybody out there? I hope everything is. Traveling Granny, hello there. But it just showed up that I was not your friend. What's up with that? That is a good question. I'd like to know that myself. Not sure what happened there. Glad you're liking the hat and tie here. Seeing if we have any other questions. Maureen, text me if I'm missing a question, please. That way there I can make sure I get to anybody's question. Thank you there. Appreciate that, Griswold family vacay. Thank you much. Let's see here. I'm just kind of going through, seeing who's in here. Appreciate that. By the way, with that thumbs up, please do consider giving me a thumbs up here this evening. Share the video if you would, or share any of my videos for that matter. Would appreciate that. Let's see what else here. Seeing if anybody has any. Brian Matthews is in the house up there in PA. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you showing up here. Forever best friend. Thank you. But hey, listen, I couldn't outdo your hats. Tell you, those hats you guys had, I loved them the other night. That was a great hat you all had. Oh, I just saw somebody new in the house here. I just went right past them, though. Let's see here. James Cattonese is in the house. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming in. I know I just had somebody was in here and I missed it. Oh, hold on there. There we go. Okay, here we go. Coming back down the list here. Mike Milinarski, he is in the house. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming in. All right, let's see. Camping in the winter bed mattress is cold when you get to your destination. Best way to keep it warm, electric blanket. Well, that's a heck of a way to do it, I'm sure. Electric blanket, but I'll tell you, having some of those, I guess, things happen. I mean, I'll tell you, for instance, camping in a hybrid years ago, we had the flannel sheets, had the heat going nice and toasty in the unit. We had the nice blankets, everything. and you get nice and toasty. And then, of course, you roll over because, the bed's outside the unit, right? You roll over, and what is it? Cold. But, that's the experience of camping. But, yeah, I guess the electric blanket would be probably the best way of doing it. I've heard of some people putting some type of insulation thing under their mattress, or maybe something even underneath the mattress itself to keep things warm. But if anybody has any other ideas, by all means, do point it out in here for us, please. Appreciate that. No doubt, George. We definitely look at that. So, and Denise, you're in the house. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Let me know if you have any questions, people. David Green's in the house. How you doing? Well, that's awesome. What part of David? What part of Florida are you guys in right now? And how long are you going to be down there? You like an electric blanket? Try a mattress heater. Way better. There you go. There's the answer. I knew there had to be something else out there. So now what I want to do is I want to go on to something else. And George, I'm going to get to your question here in just a moment here. I do see you had a question, and that was on my mind. Appreciate you doing that. But talking about hitch receivers, something I found out this week, which was amazement. So for those of you that understand hitch receivers, right? For the most part, and Blake, I know you and I discussed this for your vehicle, but for most vehicles, if you go out in the back of a hitch receiver, you're going to look and see there's a sticker on the back that's going to tell you that typically, I'm just going to use hypothetical numbers, but typically you have one weight for just dead weight. Let's say 500-pound dead weight, and let's say 7,000-pound tow rating. However, if you go ahead and were to add weight distribution hitch receiver, the hitch part, then your tongue weight that you're allowed to carry on that hitch goes up. Well, folks, that's not always the case, as I found out this week. And let me just show you what I'm talking about. And I was floored. I thought I was misreading something. But as you can see here, this is a class 3 draw tight hitch. And it doesn't matter whether it's draw tight or any of the others. But take a look at those ratings. So your normal tow capacity, 675-pound tongue weight, and you can tow 4,500 pounds. However, if you add weight distribution, it goes to 500 pounds, but you can tow more. You can tow 5,000 pounds. Now, if you're like me, you're like, what the heck is going on? That's why I was like, how the heck can that be possible? And here's what I found out. If you have a vehicle that is a unibody construction, that's the reason for it. Because if you picture this is your vehicle, okay, and then you have your hitch receiver on the back here, what's going to happen is when you put the weight distribution on it, that's going to put the weight towards the back, but then that puts pressure on the front part of the hitch receiver, and that's pulling down from the forward part of the hitch receiver. Hence the reason why, if you're using weight distribution, you can only have less tongue weight. So for any of you out there that I've told the opposite, always check to see what is out there, because that is something that floored me. I have never seen that before. And, it's like anything else. You're always learning something. If you're not learning every day, you're dying, right? Now, I had somebody ask a question here. George Danik has a question, and he says, what are the advantages and disadvantages when upgrading? So you're going to go from a travel trailer to a Class A motorhome. So, well, and it really depends on you, the individual. I can tell you from my standpoint, I took a motorhome down to see my son in Charleston, South Carolina. Now, because I'm comfortable towing or driving a motorhome, and it was a 32-foot motorhome, we just take it wherever we go. But for most people, that's not going to be the case, which means you're going to have to do one of two things. One, you're going to have your spouse drive behind you, okay, and follow you. or two, you're going to have to tow your vehicle. Now, Class A, if it's a gas motorhome, you're going to be limited to how much you can tow. Most Class A gas are 4,000 to 5,000 pounds. Now, keep in mind and I did a live talking about motorhome tow ratings, and I was doing it between a Class A gas and a diesel. And contrary to what some people might tell you, some gas motorhomes can out-tow a diesel. However, I'd much rather be towing with a diesel if I had a tow, right? More torque, right? Horsepower gets you going, torque keeps you going. But anyway, back to the Class A gas. You have to look at how much you're loading in your motorhome to how much your actual tow rating is after it's loaded. So keep that in mind. Now, when you're towing, if you're flat towing, you're not going to be able to back up. So that's one of the disadvantages, right? But I think, and again, it comes down to the individual. I think that maybe the advantages, in my estimation, would outweigh the disadvantages. The benefit of you driving down the road, if you pull over into a rest stop, go ahead and maybe get a bite to eat, use the facilities, whatever, take a nap. You don't have to get out of one vehicle and go in the other one. Everything's right there. And for most Class A motorhomes, you don't even put your slides, even with the slide outs in, for most, you can still sleep in the bed. Now, your feet might be up against a slide out, usually, a dresser or something along those lines, but that happens. While you're driving down the road, if somebody's a passenger with you, well, they are the designated in-flight stewards or steward, whatever they call them. So they are responsible for you, the driver, making sure that you're fed and that you can wet your whistle. Now, be careful when you're wetting your whistle. I'm talking about water, soda, things of that nature. Don't go overboard in this, folks. Don't read into it, what I'm not saying here. All right? They're responsible to make sure that you're happy. The beauty from a passenger standpoint is that they can get up and go to the bathroom or the facilities, or go sit at the dinette, go back, take a nap. They can do all those things while you're driving if they wish to. So it comes down to what's going to work for you and what doesn't work for you. But those are what I would say are the advantages and disadvantages, right? Anybody else have anything else that I might not have covered? I'm going to go down, look at this list here and see what we've got going on here, see if I missed something. Let's see. So we got here. I'm just reading the notes here. Seeing what happened here. So David Green is down there in the state park. Awesome. Well, that's awesome. Good to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. Awesome. Let's see here. Stephen, appreciate you joining us here. Class B, Travado, 10,000 miles, private selling. Am I better off waiting another year to see what else is on the used market? Well, Stephen, I can tell you, 2018 Travado, I mean, that's as of right now. And by the way, is that Travado? Is it a K? Is it a K or a KL or the G in the GL? Because that could make a huge difference also. But if it's just your standard K or G, I mean, that's a fair price right now. I mean, for somebody that's buying it, because if you're looking at the new ones, you're going to probably pay $20,000 more than that. You might be able to get it a little bit better, and you never know. I mean, Class B sales have been hot. That's one of the probably the hottest market, and so I don't see prices coming down. That's probably pretty close to what the individual paid for it at the time, which is good for him or them. But that seems like a pretty good deal. You always want to try to get a little bit better if you can. Let me see what else we got going on here. See, there's a lot of chat going on. Appreciate that. And let's see, we have JLS Love Life from Texas. Janice, glad you could join us here this evening. Thank you very much. So, George, let me know if that answered your question, if that's what you guys are thinking, or if you're thinking along some other line. Also, if anybody in the chat would like to go ahead and mention something I missed. Now, I want to go over one other thing. Somebody had asked me a question about a Swintech slide out. Now, Swintech slide out on, and they could be on motorhomes, they could be on a travel trailer, fifth wheel. How do you know if you have a Swintech slide? Because I was talking about holding the switch for up to 10 seconds after it's all the way in or all the way out. If you're looking at the outside of your slide, you will see this is what you see at the top and the bottom of the slide out. Something along those lines. If you have something like this, that is what a Swintech slide looks like. Now, unfortunately, the problem you have is most people doing the walkthroughs don't explain to you the proper use, how to use those properly. The best way you can ever use a Swintech slide is, number one, make sure you're always plugged into power and your batteries are fully charged when doing so. So your battery disconnect must be on. Number two, now when I say power, whoops, darn it, I didn't want to do that. But one thing, when I talk about power, you're plugged into your vehicle with it running, or you're plugged into actual 110 power. Okay? That's number one. Number two, make sure that you're holding that switch for up to 10 seconds after it's all the way out or all the way in. Let me show you why. This thing is a gear-driven mechanism. And what you have is, I'm going to pull up this picture here. What you're going to have is on either side, let me make that a little bit bigger for you. On either side of your slide out, as you can see here, you're going to have a motor. At the top is where the motor is going to be, and then you have these gears that run in the tracks. Now, what happens is, if you are not holding that switch for up to 10 seconds after it's all the way out or all the way in, then you keep in mind you have a motor on each side of your slide out. And if you don't hold that button, it will, they'll get out of sync. And then that's what's going to cause a problem. Now, and you got to keep in mind also these gears, I mean, it's kind of a small item that you're talking about with these gears. I mean, this is what the gear looks like right there. So you have one of those on the top, one of those on the bottom, and it's a shaft that's actually turning them. So keep that in mind. Now, in the event that you run into an issue, and let me show you, and this is something else that a lot of people fail to go ahead and show you. Let me pull this next item up here, and that is the brains of the slide control. This is what I call this the brain box, okay? The way that this thing works is, in the event that you cannot, you're trying to bring the slide out in and it's coming in all wacky, just stop. And you've got to find this. So you got to make sure that you find the location. This could be underneath the bathroom sink. This could be, if you have a fifth wheel, under the underbelly. This could be under a dinette booth. It could be a number of different places. What you're going to do is you're going to look right in the, see that little rectangle box there with the arrow pointing to it? That is what you're going to look for. And in there, there's going to be a light that's blinking at you. All you do is count the number of blinks, and on the bottom of, below that box, you can see, let me make that bigger again. Below the box, you see it says blink, and it has all those numbers, and then the fault code. So all you're going to do, count the number of times it flashes at you. That's going to tell you the fault code. Now, I did have a customer that called me, and they were having, supposedly it was a ground issue, but I told them to do the next thing first. And by the way, you don't have to remember everything I'm telling you here. It's kind of right here on this box. The next thing you would do, if you look at where this arrow is, and it says how to manually override. Well, where that arrow is pointing to, it's inside that box there, okay? And inside there, just get a pen. Don't have your pen clipped on, but put your pen in there, and there's a little button in there. You push that button 6 times. Then you push it a seventh time and you hold it until the lights flash at you. The lights will flash in that box at you. Once it does, pull it out. At that point, you should be able to walk in and manually override. You push the button and it should automatically come in and you're fine. Get it in. Then I would tell you to go home. And at that point, when you got it home and you got it plugged in, then I would tell you to run it out about 12 inches and then in and hold it, hold the button, run it out. And you do that several times until you get those motors to synchronize again, and then you should be fine. Now, if that doesn't work, then you're going to have to go ahead and get with the RV service and have them figure it out. Now, let's say that the next thing happens. Let's say that you cannot, you go out there, go push the button, it doesn't work. You see these two little white clips on the bottom. That's where you're going to have wires clipped into. And all you do there is pull, but you unconnect both of those wires. And what that's going to do is that's going to disconnect the motors from the brains, which is going to disconnect the power. At that point, the brakes are unlocked. Now you just got to get people shoulder to shoulder on the outside of that slide, push it on in. Once you have it in, plug those wires back in. And then, of course, you're going to want to get with somebody to make sure that you can get that thing figured out what's going on and what caused that issue. So that's on the Swintech slide system. I particularly do like the Swintech slides. I think it makes it easier for you to bring in if the event you have a problem. However, if you're doing things the way you're supposed to, there is less chance that you're going to have an issue. Now, I do not agree with the manufacturers that are putting those Swintech slides on the larger slides. That Swintech slide system, in my opinion, is for the smaller slides. And when you see the ones that have three of those gear marks on the side of a slide out, in my opinion, that's too long of a slide. And again, that's just my opinion. So anyway, let me see what else might be, if there is another question here. See, there's some other things here. I see Bill just said, oh, okay, that must have been back when you were driving. Let's see, David Green says, with the glut of RV buyers this year, have you seen or do you expect a bunch of used RVs in the next several years? Well, there, like any time, there's going to be, I think you're going to see more eventually. But you have to understand that if somebody were to had just bought an RV this year, and why I do not think that there's going to be a glut next year that people are going to be clamoring to get out of them. I mean, it could happen, right? You just never know. But the way everything's talking about is that the spike in RV sales is going to continue through next year. And actually, they're talking about for the next year and a half or so. Now, with that being said, there is a possibility that there is a glut of them. Now, here's what you got to keep in mind. Somebody buys an RV, they put 10% down, maybe 20% down, they go to get out of it. If there's a glut of RVs on the market, well, the value of the used are going to be substantially less money, right? And that individual is going to have a decision to make. Okay, do I want to go ahead and buy myself out of this RV? Because let's say that the amount of money he has to come up with out of pocket is $5,000 to $10,000 after it's all said and done. They may not want to do that, so they may end up keeping their RV. Now, one thing I have seen happening is for those of you that have had RVs, maybe they're 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe even a little bit older. You guys were the fortunate ones of what everything was going on. I mean, I have seen people getting more than what they paid for their RVs, or more than the RV values are, and that's, you know, good for them. And it's just the way of the market right now. I mean, you know, for instance, we have a trailer that we sold back in 2017, and we're reselling it now. It's going to sell for more than what the first person bought it for. That's because they don't make this RV anymore. And again, it's a market-driven price. And if you go out there, we're not overly pricing it, but you know, when you look at the market and what it's bringing, we're in that ballpark. But it's just the way things go. So all depends on what you're looking at. So let me see. So looks like, oh, good. So looks like RV Kids TV is here. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. I know that you're out. I think you were heading out there courtside as well. And let's see. I believe. Oh, and we have Rayleigh's Creative Travel. I appreciate you coming in. Up there he was. He was up here. Thank you very much there. And Johnny's Journey's here as well. I'm missing a lot of people that have come in here. But I do appreciate everybody coming in here this evening. Hope that answers your question. I'm really excited about moving forward. Ordered a drone. I'm in the process of taking the class for the drone and learning a lot of stuff already. It amazes me how this all this stuff goes down, and but I'm looking forward to all the good footage and the added value that this drone is going to bring to my videos. So again, I do appreciate everybody coming in here this evening. Does anybody else have a question? Maureen, also text me if I'm missing somebody. And let's see, he's got a 2007 Open Road. Oh my God. I wouldn't wait till the spring. I'd sell it now. Put it on the market now if you can. That's a good thing. So, and yes, it is going to be fun. Can't wait to it. I actually had the opportunity to the drone I'm getting. Actually got to see one that somebody else, a friend of mine, had, and watch them fly it and what it was able to do. So interested in getting it and learning how to do that, and then passing this test. I'm already scheduled for it at the end of December, before Christmas. So it'll be a great Christmas present to me. That's for sure. I just need to pass it. I've got 2 weeks to knock out all this study. That's for sure. So anyway, so any other questions here this evening? Be sure you give me a thumbs up. If you're watching this on replay, again, give me a thumbs up if you like it. Thumbs down, it's okay. Listen, I get it. I can't make everybody happy. I tried, but I know what happens. That we sometimes we don't make everybody happy, right? But we appreciate the thumbs down as much as we do the thumbs up. Those of you watching a replay, do comment down below as well and share it out. And again, remember, consider donating to that Make-A-Wish Mid-Atlantic. It doesn't matter how much, and maybe, you donate that $25. You may be the lucky winner on the back end as well. But really consider and think about putting that smile on that family's face with the wishes that they are trying, that they're filling. I mean, it amazes me all the different wishes, and I'm going to be putting out some information on that as well. Stay tuned. The 17th, I believe, December 17th, I'll be doing another live with another Make-A-Wish family. So stay tuned for that. And looks like we have everybody here, and nobody else has a question. So I do appreciate everybody. Thank you for showing up. Try to keep it short and simple, to the point, trying to give you all the information that you're looking for. And if there's something that you'd like me to cover next week, by all means, please do. And I will be sure to try and cover your topic next time, or just bring your question. So listen, if I don't see you between now, or if you don't see me, I should say, or I don't hear from you, here are the comments. If you don't see me between now and Christmas, please do have a merry one and a happy new year. And we'll be coming back at you again next week. Y'all take care now.